A very pleasant good afternoon as we welcome you into our Tuesday edition of the Lion Country Kia Goon and Ironhead show.
Hello.
And
I'm back.
Lots to get into. Yes, the Dear Goon has returned from Maine. I trust that it was a good trip.
There's not many lobsters left, man. I did my job.
Poor lobsters.
They're not poor. Trust me. They sell their cousins for a lot of money.
Yeah.
Very expensive.
Even in Maine.
Even in Maine. I mean, what do you think I'm talking, if I have a picture, I'll show it to you.
Yeah.
A heaping, lobster roll this big, probably 7-8 inch roll, full, overflowing. How much do you think?
20, nope. 25, no.
Nope.
40.
38.
No kidding.
But that was at a food truck at a
wow.
At a Allagash brewery. So I don't know. We bought some fresh lobster home, picked, cut, peeled, and put it in the containers, and they were $66 a pound.
Wow.
Yeah. So I can't imagine what it's here.
Man. Yeah. That's.
And the people up there were like, you know what? When we were growing up, you can get 2 rolls for $10 on the beach. And I was like, that's the Maine I used to. I was told about. But yes, it is unbelievable. Yes, you are not going to get that anywhere else other than when you were in Maine. So the scallops were they were very well priced, $22 a pound. We had some of them to take home too. So that's, they're 26, 27 here at Wegmans. So, we're saving that money, but it's I can't believe the lobster, and it's this time of year. It's not like it's like not in season.
Right.
But so good. We'll do it again if there's another buy next fall in that weekend. So
it is good.
It was a fantastic time, good trip. My in-laws, father-in-law's doing well. God, I got a great story for you.
Yeah.
I was going 93 and a 55. I got pulled over in New Hampshire.
Yeah.
I didn't have my license.
Oh.
Yeah. I got out of it.
Nice.
Yeah. Yeah. The guy ran my numbers, all my stuff, and said, hey, we talked a little bit, and, I schmoozed a little bit. You know how Goon is, right? And my father-in-law was like, you lucky son, it's pretty good, and this and that. So we got back here Sunday afternoon about 4:30. They got in their car, and they had to drive 2 hours northwest home. Guess who got a speeding ticket?
Oh, boy.
And guess who couldn't talk his way out of it?
Oh, boy.
And, yeah, he was not happy about the whole thing.
I am sure
He's
not.
like, that fat SOB doesn't even have a license. He's going 40 miles over the limit, this and that. And I get a speeding ticket going 9 miles over the limit. So
some people have a gift.
Yes, sir.
Some people not so much.
I picked it right up. He said, sign this piece of paper. I got to go run your numbers. I said, okay. So I signed my name in cursive, and I said, oh, sorry, officer, trooper, I apologize. I don't know if you guys even do cursive anymore. And he goes, I went to Catholic school. And I said, I gave him knuckles. And I said, 13 years of Catholic school here. So I had that little thing.
There you go.
There. And then I printed everything else out. That was the bond we had. I gave him the knuckles, pounded it out a little bit. He came back. He says, man, you're 6'7". I said, yes, I am. Because he looked up my license on his cop stuff. And then was like, hey, man, make sure you get out every couple hours and stretch those legs and take care of your precious cargo. He goes, I'm not going to block you up here. You need to get on your way and get on home. So I said, thank you, sir. We're out of here. And then I did not go 1 mile over the speed limit the rest of the day.
Wise move.
Yes, sir.
On your part. All right, lots to get into today. Of course, Penn State at Wisconsin here on Saturday night, 7:30, Camp Randall Stadium. And we'll get into it. I've been listening to Booch, the Dear Booch, late lunch. You can listen to his program 1 to 2 here on Sports Radio, 98.7 The Fox. And he is not, I don't think I'm overstating this. He has very little concern. I shouldn't say no, but he has very little concern about this game. The funny thing is,
he ran it by me, so I know exactly what you're talking about.
The funny thing is, at the end of the day, I think I'm with him, but I don't think any of us should be in that mindset. and there's a whole bunch of reasons for it. And listen, I have a good feeling going into this game,
and also a scared feeling going into this game.
But I think so. On paper, the reason the Penn State fans should be concerned, James Franklin's track record coming out of bye weeks is not great. That's putting it kindly. Wisconsin is playing its best football of the season, is riding a 3-game win streak. It's a night game. The atmosphere there at Camp Randall is up there. I don't know if you would rank it as second behind Beaver Stadium or but somewhere in that top 3-4 anyway. I think it's a better atmosphere than Michigan or Ohio State in terms of the noise and, intimidation factor.
It's a cool stadium. It's layered up like Beaver Stadium.
Yeah, I mean, I was up there when it's rocking, but Camp Randall, when it's rocking, it's rocking.
Yep. And then nighttime on Halloween week, I can't imagine the sights we're going to see Saturday night.
So the question, so you have that, and
that's the fear.
And then you have the Ohio State game is sitting out there just a week later.
Correct.
And of course, that is shaping up to be the game of the season for Penn State and one of the games of the season in all of college football right now. So all of those things would lead you to believe, man, this is a trap game. Concern for all of the reasons listed. And at the end of the day, I'll come back to, I think Penn State's the better team. I think Penn State has learned some things. James Franklin has learned some things from previous bye-week experiences. And I think this team does have the maturity to handle everything that comes with this week in taking care of business. Now, that being said, as this college football season is playing out, we are seeing a lot of bizarre things occur. Vanderbilt beating Alabama, Maryland beating USC. More on that later. But good heavens. I mean, I know cross country. I know all of that. Give me a break. Are you serious, Lincoln Riley? Yeah. I mean, my gosh, that is
good move to the Big Ten, boys.
Oh, boy, what an embarrassing loss that is for that program.
Yeah, that seems like they're the only ones that are really sucking of the four that came across. So go ahead.
But Northern Illinois beating Notre Dame earlier this season. So, while I do feel good about Penn State's chances here on Saturday night, there is part of me that's like, yeah, just got to see this team get through it. And we'll see if they can, in fact, do that. Yep. There's a few things that I'm really interested to see how it plays out here in this particular game on Saturday night. And one of them is what I'm expecting we're going to see is a lot of decoy use of Tyler Warren. Now, that does not mean I don't think Tyler Warren's not going to touch the ball a ton on Saturday night, but I do think they're going to do some plays off of what they were able to get out of Tyler Warren all season long, but in particular 2 weeks ago, or a week and a half ago now, but 2 weeks ago come Saturday night. And I think you're going to see Penn State open some things up for the other tight ends with the passing game and add some more variety to what they have with their packages with Prabula and or Warren in there. And I'm curious to see that. Maybe I'm over anticipating this, but I'm figuring, Goon, with 2 weeks to get ready, Wisconsin is looking at this saying, well, we've got to, if not eliminate Tyler Warren's impact, at least limit it. And however you do that, to whatever degree you can do that, you're certainly expecting Wisconsin to do it. I just think Kotelnicki, being the chess player on the football field that he is, anticipating that, knowing what they have in the tight end room, knowing the way some of these receivers are coming along, I'm expecting we're just going to see a lot of, yep, here we go, Tyler Warren, and feed him maybe a couple times early, and then, oh, no, we're actually going to go long here, or whatever it may be. But I think you're going to see a lot of plays off of the Tyler Warren option that clearly was very, very effective a couple of weeks ago out in L.A.
Yeah, I mean, we talked about, I'm sorry, we're going to go back to this. So the bad that Booch is talking about.
Yep.
Which is James Franklin, our record after bye week, all that stuff, the night game, it's a trap game, this and that. But we didn't get into the good. Were you going to go there or no? Or do you want to talk about that now?
Go ahead.
So the good being, who was Wisconsin beat in the last 3 weeks? A very down Rutgers team. This is what Booch was telling me today. A very down Rutgers team, not a good Northwestern team,
and a lousy Purdue team.
Yes, so I mean, they're the three teams that Wisconsin's hot right now. They got rolled by USC earlier in the year, a week before us. So they have rebounded very, very well. And Fickle is a very, very good coach, and he has these guys turned around, it seems. So this week is a huge, where is Wisconsin at right now? And then again, I said, when we opened the show, it scares the hell out of me, but I also have a good feeling about it. It's a weird. I don't know. I can go either way on it. You know what I mean?
Well, so where I'm at with it is kind of where I was at with the Texas-Georgia game last week in a different way. Just that everything was pointing to, man, Texas is going to win. Texas has been the most consistent team. Georgia's been having penalty problems. Georgia already has the loss to Alabama.
Yep.
Night game atmosphere. I mean, objectively, anybody looking at that, looking at the resumes of those two teams going in, it's like, well, clearly Texas at home at night. And I didn't outright guarantee anything, but I'm like,
thank God.
You just know that Georgia is going to go in there, and without knowing until you see it. But I mean, Georgia's going to play its best game and at least be right there at the end and give itself a chance. And of course, Georgia did more than that in that particular game. So there's a couple of things that are happening here with Penn State that I really do like. And for several years, as we started doing the show here, Goon, Penn State would lose a game that it wasn't supposed to lose, and we would talk about it. And it's like, man, this is the one thing that or one of the things, it's just a problem. Like James Franklin, there's always that game where he stubs his toe. Well, now we're 2.5 seasons in here of a run where Penn State hasn't been doing that. No matter where the game is, no matter who the opponent is, no matter what kind of a game that team has on a given day or night, Penn State has risen to the occasion and found a way to win. And I think sometimes that is undervalued and maybe underappreciated in college football, where it is and has been for many years maybe too much about the style points.
Yep.
And I look at Texas, and again, Texas going into that Georgia game, I think anybody following college football would agree. Listen, that's been the most consistently impressive team. Like, they have been on every week. They've looked outstanding. Not a real weakness that anybody sees in the offense. And all of a sudden they're there down and looking lost and hopeless. And now they rallied a little bit and made it, more competitive game. But even when they pulled to within 8 there, I don't know. I just didn't have the feeling that, man, yep, this is going to be Texas's night. And Georgia, did a great job of putting it away.
It seemed like Georgia had been there before.
So this is the other thing, though. When you were talking about the USC putting it to Wisconsin earlier in the year, so one of the things that happens during a football season is you look back at the end of the year and you're like, how in the world did that team beat that team when you look at it? And I'm just telling you, the seasons play out. Like, we talked about it with USC after the Penn State game, Goon. Like, that is a really talented, and it is a really talented football team. But there's something to be said for knowing how to win, how to put games away, and that team clearly does not know how to do that. If you can't put away Maryland. For crying out loud, with the team the Terrapins have this year, that is really, really bad for a program that has the aspirations that USC's program does. But so the USC that beat LSU and that put it to Wisconsin,
right?
That is not the USC that finished up that game against Maryland. And there are ebbs and flows. And I'm curious to see how Texas responds. I think they'll respond well. I think they'll be, a playoff team and end up being fairly high seed when it's said and done. But I'm not going to guarantee that because, again, the psyche is a funny thing. Confidence is a big deal in sports.
Yep.
And if you can keep your confidence even when something doesn't go your way or you have a rough stretch, that's an ability in and of itself. And it can be a learned ability, or it can be innate, or it can be a combination. One of the things that I really do like about what Penn State has had going these last few years, again, is that ability to not stumble somewhere along the way against somebody you're not expected to. Now, They haven't pulled out the win against somebody that they weren't expected to, and that's certainly part of the discussion as well. But I think the maturity of James Franklin as a coach, and now with this year's team at the halfway point, I think these guys are looking around. They're seeing what's happening in college football, and I think they understand the urgency that is here week in and week out. As James Franklin put it in the one press conference, it's Franklin speaking. He said, we don't want to be one of those programs that has to learn from a loss. You can learn from your wins. And I think this team is well positioned to do it. And one of the reasons that I continue to have great confidence, and I've been saying it from the very beginning of the season, and nothing has happened to change my mind, is Penn State has two elite coordinators. And I think both of these guys know what they're doing. I think they have the confidence of the team, and I think they are good enough on the chess end of it that even if Penn State is in a dogfight unexpectedly, and we could debate how unexpectedly the dogfight at USC was, but man, they're going to figure out, all right, this is the way to put the players in position to go make something happen. And now they have the players that can go out and execute it to allow that something to happen and to win the game. I do think Wisconsin is a better team than it was earlier in the season, but I also don't think this is a great football team that Wisconsin is going to roll out here in Madison on Saturday night. I think it's a good team. I think it'll finish with four losses on the season, and I think the next one will be this matchup on Saturday night. But there are a lot of worrisome telltale signs about this game, I will say, going in.
But
I just don't have
about it. The whole country is talking about it. James is, and the guys are talking about it, and you nail on the head. We have very, very good leaders. I have to say this is a shameless plug, but the player show, bluewaveplayerShow.com from last night, Tyler Elsdon was on. Dude, you want to talk about a guy who was a leader? He literally lost his starting position. He played more as a freshman and sophomore than he has as a junior and a senior, and he is out there. He's still leading the team. He's still a team leader. They're still looking up to him.
Yeah.
And he's out there. He's, not playing Rojas and all the other linebacker guys are Kobe King out there.
Yep.
They're in his position, and he's like in the locker room, in the linebacker room, helping them out. I mean, that's leadership to a T, because I know guys who would lose their position and say, I'm out of here. There's a guy right there who'd be like, oh, I'm going to I'm transferring. I'm out of here. I can't do this anymore. He was on the show last night. If you have a chance to watch it, it is really, really good. Talk about a selfless guy and what kind of leadership these guys are getting on this team right now. I mean, I've had Dawkins, I've had him, Devon, and Tyler Warren and Dom DeLuca on the show this year so far as the older guys, and every one of them has impressed me with their leadership skills. There's no BS frills to it. It's like, we're here to do a job, and that's the way they got to go out there. So these guys know that this is a trap game. This is the epitome. I mean, I don't think I've ever seen a bigger trap game in my life. You know what I mean? It's like a trap game is like, you're not ready for it. I think we're going to be ready for it. I know James is. I mean, James has that stigma that they don't play well after the bye weeks and stuff like that. The first person who wants to get rid of that stigma is him for sure. So, one other point. Why did we think so highly of Texas? Because they beat Michigan, who is now proven to be a complete fraud. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
They beat Oklahoma, who was definitely a fraud.
Their quarterback play is definitely leaving.
I'm looking at the teams they played: Colorado State, Michigan, Oklahoma. They're not lighting the world on fire, but Georgia had played Alabama, so they had been in that big game already this year. And I'm talking big game. That's a big game on Saturday night. That was an impressive game. That was the whole country freaking watching that game, man.
Well,
looking forward to it. So,
so this is what's interesting to me though is so Georgia's sitting there at number 2 now, jumping.
Are you okay with
both the AP and the coaches poll?
That's where I was going with that.
This is so. All depends on how you want to look at it, right? Part of this is the reputation of Georgia. Part of this is the reputation of the SEC. But part of this is the quality of the win.
Okay.
And I do think that win over Texas is more impressive than any win Penn State has.
Yeah.
I will say the loss to Alabama, though, I think looks worse today. Certainly it looks worse today than it did at the time. I mean, this is an Alabama team that now has 2 losses, including one to Vanderbilt. And I get that Vanderbilt is much improved and they're looking like a good team, but they're not a playoff team. Nobody's penciling the Commodores in as one of the 12 that'll be playing here at the end of the year. So listen, do I think Georgia is very good and capable of winning the national title? I do on both counts. But if we have more data, obviously, with each week of the season that goes by. And if we're going to say that Penn State's win over USC isn't as impressive after their loss to Maryland, that's fair. And, okay, again, I don't think that was the same USC team that played at Maryland that even played Penn State a week before. Because, again, they knew now, no doubt, they were out of the playoffs. And then I don't know what the nonsense was at the end of that first half there, but I do think that had to have played a role in inspiring Maryland. Like, let's come out and give these guys our best shot anyway. And USC, for whatever reason, just cannot hang on to a lead. All 4 games
folded, man,
this year that they've lost. They had the lead, but
horrible Michigan loss.
But Georgia's win over Alabama also looks to me loss to Alabama, looks substantially worse now as the season is playing out, because Alabama, again, while I do think it played a great game that night, has certainly not looked like a team that is going to make the playoffs. And I'm not ruling out that possibility now either for the Crimson Tide, but there's no margin for error now for Alabama the remainder of the way. So at the end of the day, I don't know that it's a huge deal now whether or not Penn State's second or third. I think the season will play out, and if Penn State remains undefeated, I think they'll go back up over Georgia, and if they don't, they probably deserve to be ranked a little below the Bulldogs, at least in the moment of time. To me right now, if I had it, trying to look at it as objectively as possible, I think I would have moved Penn State to 2, had Georgia 3, but I don't think it's any travesty of football justice or anything. I get why Georgia jumped them.
Yep.
And it was
and I can
a
see why they
great
didn't want
win
to put us
at
in the two.
Texas.
We have really played nobody.
Yeah, I think that's
that goes in the feeling.
Yeah, West Virginia and USC are not helping
Illinois.
Penn State's cause
That's
all.
the win right
and
now.
Neither is Bowling Green. Yeah, and it would help. Illinois has a, I think we could call it a big one here.
Super quick question.
On Saturday against Oregon.
Those uniforms, awesome or not awesome?
Illinois, pretty awesome. I thought they were pretty awesome.
Smoking awesome.
Yep, I thought they were
sorry.
pretty cool.
Yeah, so I'm okay with getting jumpy because you know what? It's just like everything else. We're going to know in a couple weeks.
Yeah.
And on November 2nd, next Saturday, when we wake up on November 3rd, we're going to have a real good feeling of what kind of team we have. And I hope we get to that point where we're not tripping over our feet at Wisconsin. And I seem to think that our leadership and our coaching staff will not let that happen again. But then going into Ohio State, which that's our measuring stick for the last 20 years. I mean, that's it. And it's nothing has changed this year. Yes, I guess it has something changed because you do lose that game. You're still in it. You're not out of it. You're still in it.
Very much so. Yes, like almost guaranteed.
I've just been thinking about the scenarios in my head. Now, I have to ask you, you might have a better read on it than I do. The college football, not the playoffs, I'm sorry, the Big Ten, SEC, ACC, we have to play them because television has said we have to play them because they've had contracts. And I get that. But it's pointless to do it. We've talked about that. There's really no reason to have a conference title. There's really no reason other than because we have a contract. I don't think we will have them after this year. But this year. So you're going to take the two teams, and it's like, does that game count towards the college selection?
This is while I understand the sentiment, and I think I actually agree with the sentiment that, listen, you can't penalize a team for getting to the conference championship game. I also, like, if a team gets blown out there, you can't pretend you didn't see that. Like, I mean, you have to use the data that has been compiled. And if let's say it's Penn State gets there and
plays Oregon and gets smoked.
Yes, and Oregon wins it 42-10. Well, you can't just sit there and, having watched the Ohio State-Oregon game earlier in the season, again, I get the sentiment. We're not going to penalize somebody, but you can't ignore what you just saw. Like, that's the most recent data point you have. You can't pretend that doesn't matter and that isn't what you just saw going into the playoffs. So, listen, I think if they are competitive games, like, I would minimize the deducting a program for a loss there, but it is a loss if you lose it. And
case in point,
I think it needs to be put in. I'm okay with it having a reduced significance compared to other games throughout the season in terms of how you're looking at the seeding or whether or not a team belongs in the playoffs. But you can't just flat out ignore what you're watching.
Okay. So Oregon's undefeated. We lose to Ohio State. We are in the Big Ten title game versus Oregon. We lose. We now have 2 losses. Say Ohio State loses to Michigan. They have 2 losses. But because we went head-to-head, because we had to play an extra playoff game, an extra conference title game, we're going to get punished, and possibly Ohio State goes ahead of us into the college football playoff.
It is possible.
And that is, again, I don't think it's, you have 12 games scheduled to figure this out. It's pointless to have that 13th game, especially so close, 2 weeks away from the playoff. You're asking a lot of these kids physically.
Yes.
And this is why I understand why they did it. They won't admit it, but they had television contracts with their respective conferences and their channels. So, they're not going to give those games up.
Yeah.
But if it's going to be there to hurt somebody and their chances of getting to the playoffs, I would rather lose a game Indiana loses one game, and they go play Oregon. They can go play Ohio State, whoever.
Yeah.
And then we sit there with one loss, and we're guaranteed to be in with one loss.
Yeah.
Whereas we go to the Big Ten title and lose a second game, now all of a sudden we got Alabama with 2 losses. They're going to take Alabama over Penn State every time, and that's bold to me, And I think that's why I'm asking: are these games, these playoff games, going to be part of, or should the playoffs be picked before? You know what I mean? The team wise, am I making sense?
Yeah, I just don't know.
Yeah, they're not going to. They're using these for the seeding. I get it.
Yeah,
and who gets the buys?
You can't ignore the results. Well, it could be too in the Big 12. I mean, it could be winners in, losers out. So
Big 12.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, there's only
so.
Who the hell's going to win the Big 12?
We'll see how it all plays out. Right now, you would think Iowa State, but we'll have to wait and see.
And if they lose, they might get. Well, I guess they would. The winner of their title game would go, yes.
Yeah.
But they're talking about 3 SEC, 3 Big Ten. I did see that Boise is ahead of everybody in the non-Power 5.
For now.
Interesting.
Yeah. We'll take a break here. We're back with more of the Lion Country Kia Goon and Ironhead show. We are at Quaker Steak and Lube, where the all-you-can-eat wing buffet gets underway here in, now less than an hour and a half from now.
Coast into fall with a new Kia. Coast into fall with a new Kia from Lion Country Kia. Right now, get a 24 Kia Seltos for 5.25% APR for up to 48 months. A new Sportage plug-in hybrid at 0.9% APR. Check out our 23 Sorento hybrid for as low as 4.5% APR. And don't forget, all 2023 and 2024 Kias come with a 10-year, 100,000-mile limited warranty. Stop in and meet with one of our sales experts today and coast into fall at Lion Country Kia. We want to see you in a Kia.
If you love wings, if you love rings, and all kinds of other tempting things, great times, great food, get to Quaker Steak Lube.
Get our Best Wings USA, signature sauces, mouth-watering appetizers, or any of our delicious award-winning lube favorites.
Great times, great food, get to Quaker Steak Lube.
The Center Hall Farm Store has been serving Center County and beyond for well over a half century. A small family business, the Center Hall Farm Store specializes in animal nutrition and manufactures its feed fresh using local ingredients. Get the best in horse, cow, pig, chicken, and bird feeds. If you're not already a customer, stop in and see why so many of your neighbors are. The Center Hall Farm Store at 110 West Allison Street in Center Hall, or call us at 814-364-1393.
A lot has changed about State College. One thing that hasn't is W.C. Clark's Coffee Roasters on 234 East Calder Way. 30 different varieties of specialty coffee beans sourced from over 25 countries and roasted with love each morning in Happy Valley for over 45 years. They'll ship their fresh roasted coffee from their doorstep to yours. Order online at statecollegecoffee.com. That's statecollegecoffee.com.
Two of the top names in local printing have combined to serve you better. King Printing of State College has merged with theprinters.com, forming one of the 400 largest printers in America. Combining traditional offset printing and digital workflow techniques, theprinters.com can print, assemble, package, and ship to anywhere in the world, all with the same high quality customers have known and trusted for over 50 years. Buy local and save. Get started today at theprinters.com.
Ready to be part of something bigger? Come pave the road to success at Glen Baker and discover a career where your hard work and determination can build a bigger, better future. Our team believes we can build a stronger future together. Join us at Glen Baker, where we value teamwork on the field and on the job. Go to GOHcareers.com to apply. GOHcareers.com. And best of luck to all the Center County sports teams all season long from everyone at Glen Baker.
With a Timber Kids savings account, you can start to save money, earn prizes, and teach your kids the value of savings. It's easy as 1, 2, 3. Building futures is what we do at TFCU.
You've
really need to belong to a credit union, you belong at TFCU, Timberland Federal Credit Union, a credit union you can grow with.
Get up and get going with the Happy Valleys 98.7 The Fox. The Goon and Ironhead.
We are back here on a Tuesday afternoon at Quaker Steak and Lube, the place to come on down, enjoy some great food, great beverages, and great service, all while you watch the sports on all of the TVs located all throughout the restaurant area. A few things to get into in addition to Penn State football, and the big one here coming up Saturday night against Wisconsin. Penn State women's volleyball remains third in the country as well in the coaches poll. Penn State coming off a couple of victories over the weekend over Ohio State and Minnesota, and continuing to play at a very high level. Jess Merzick continues to be as dominant a force as there is out there, and Izzy Stark is just a dynamo as the setter for that team, and I think they are positioned very well for a deep run when we get to the postseason here.
They got a little inspiration now.
Coach
Cawley.
What's that?
With her cancer.
Yeah.
That's a little rally cry, in my opinion.
Yeah.
They're playing for her. Is she out coaching? Is she just taking time off, or is she just working her way through it?
I don't know.
Okay. I'm pretty sure she's taking time off, which is amazing because what she has and all that stuff. But they haven't said what kind of cancer it is. But now the girls can rally around that type of thing and with the coach.
Women's soccer team coming off of a loss over the weekend, but I think Penn State is well positioned here as well to maybe get on a roll down the stretch and be a team that can make some noise here in the postseason as well. Also, we'll have high school football coming up here on Friday night. It is already the final week of the regular season here on Friday night, and we will have live coverage, and actually all of the games should be good ones, and it's kind of designed that way. The LHAC purposely keeps the last weekend of the season open, and then they try to match up games that we haven't previously seen over the course of the first 9 weeks that will be competitive. So they try to get teams that are kind of right next to each other in the standings. And it just so happens that State College has just such a game as well. And actually this game, I believe, will determine second place in the mid-pen with Bishop McDevitt coming into Memorial Field. Both teams are 8-1 on the season. Both teams had very close losses to Harrisburg. I think McDevitt actually lost in overtime 35-33. Yes. And of course, State High lost that 7-6 battle in the rain and had that field goal block that could have won it for State High. So this will be a big one.
This is really the final season.
Those two
final weekend
teams on Friday night at Memorial Field. And then we have 6-3 Bellefonte will be at 7-2 Richland. Bald Eagle area with its 4-5 record will visit Somerset, which is 3-6 on the year. Battle of 0-9 squads at Westmont Hilltop, with Penns Valley making the trip there. And Phillipsburg Osceola will go to Greater Johnstown. The Mounties are 3-6, and the Trojans come in at 2-7 on the season in that one. So that'll be Center County Red Zone. That rolls your way Friday night from 7 to 10 here on Sports Radio 98.7 The Fox. And then
State High home.
Yep, they're the only home team here on
versus Harrisburg.
They play Bishop McDevitt.
McDevitt,
yep,
they both
Bishop
lost to Harrisburg.
Yep.
So you're about my high school?
What's that?
Beat Prep 2 weeks ago.
Did they?
Yeah. First time in a long time.
That's,
I've had people. Yeah, the prep was 4 in the country, and LaSalle beat them. So LaSalle's actually pretty damn loaded this year. The only team that would stayed high, and then they played Harrisburg, and they whooped them up early. That was early in the season. I have been told that LaSalle's pretty stacked this year, and they got a pretty good young class coming in. Couple, young couple. I mean, actually, I hear the names and I laugh because they're guys I grew up with and went to high school with, and it's their kids, So, but they got some players down there, and I did call Terry Smith because Terry Smith's recruiting down that area right now. We're recruiting my high school and all that stuff. So, interesting stuff, bud.
Yep. And then, of course, we have tough one. My Sunday was tough, Goon, because of the Jets beating Pittsburgh, and I really thought Pittsburgh would win that one. But the Jets,
I got to ask,
pulled it out. Yeah.
I mean, I know Russ is he's sort of not a likable person, I guess. It's odd. His I don't know what it is. It's something like, it's just like he's like too like, hey, rah, rah, like, hey, you know what I mean? I just see Fields on the sidelines, and he just never changes emotions, expressions, or whatever. And it's just like, damn, dude.
I was talking about the Jets-Pittsburgh game.
That's what I mean. Fields on the sidelines with Russell Wilson doing very well.
Are you talking about the football game?
What are you talking about?
I'm talking about the Jets and the Penguins. The Winnipeg 6-3 win over Pittsburgh on Sunday.
Sorry, I apologize. They really played the Jets, Pirates, or Pittsburgh twice. No, I just don't like Fields' attitude on the sideline. I really don't. It was just like, was it just me because he irks me?
I don't know. I actually thought I obviously don't know what's going on in the locker room or anything like that. They're both saying they're
good, by the way.
They're both saying the right things, and this is the one thing that occurred to me. So, and I will say, listen, I didn't think it was wise to make the move when they did. And I said last week, if you're going to make that move, it needs to pay off. Yep. And, well, it paid off. Now, it's a 1-game sample size. I'm not ready to sit here and tell you that, it's definitively no question. But, boy, Sunday night, it sure looked like the offense that you were hoping the Steelers' offense could be. And there's just a different rhythm. There's no question. As the game went on, Russell Wilson settled into it, and you would think they'll be able to keep it going against the Giants, and then maybe we'll start to really see how that tests out the remainder of the season, because the schedule does get much more difficult moving forward. But I think when the one thing that I'm wondering if it would be worth, and I don't know, maybe you just maybe it's not a good idea, but I think to what Penn State is doing right now, and I'm thinking to myself, man, it would be tough for NFL defenses to try to get ready for both Russell Wilson. And listen, after seeing that Sunday night, it's hard to argue in the moment right now, and I would not argue that isn't the right decision. But Justin Fields does give you that different wrinkle with the game. I'm just wondering if it would be worth, hey, for one series, you don't know when, somewhere along the way, we're just going to run this one series with Fields, or, do you fear disrupting the offense too much, having one quarterback or the other looking over their shoulder? I don't know. But, boy, on the surface, it seems to me like that would be a good thing to throw in there, and again, have it be a varied package. I'm not saying you bring Fields in and you run them 3 straight times. Like, that kind of defeats the purpose. But so I'm going to compare the Steelers and Penn State a little more here, because we have heard, and we've had people even during the show, it's like, I go back to that Alabama-Georgia game, and that following Tuesday, I think I told you that I had people writing, it's like, well, that's big-time college football. Like, Penn State looks good, but they're not. Well, as this season is playing out, you tell me the team that has looked great every week, because I can't name
happening.
you one. There's not a team where it's like every week. I mean, Texas was that team going into the loss at home to a Georgia team that had already lost to a two-loss Alabama team. So all of these teams, including the undefeated. I mean, Iowa State didn't look great over the weekend. I think Iowa State is a really, really good football team. I really do. I think that's a program that will be interesting to see how things finish up for the Cyclones this year. But I think Penn State is right there. I was listening to a discussion on another show, and the discussion was, all right, the Steelers aren't going to the Super Bowl this year, and you have to find out if Justin Fields is your future. And a couple of things about that. One, Mike Tomlin, I guarantee you, doesn't know that the Steelers aren't going to the Super Bowl, and I don't think the players in that locker room are of the belief that they're not going to the Super Bowl this year. And I'm not sitting here predicting that they're going to the Super Bowl this year.
Sure.
But I will tell you, when I watching that game on Sunday night, if this offense continues to progress and Russell Wilson stays healthy, I mean, I'm watching the Chiefs, and yep, I get it. The Chiefs, they know how to put it together at the end of the year. But I'm telling you, if the Steelers are healthy, and that's always a big component with any team, any year, the relative health of your team when you get to the postseason. But if the Steelers are healthy or darn close to it defensively and have their key players healthy at the end of the year, and this offense remains relatively healthy, the recipe right now, to me, looks like the Baltimore Ravens, right? Well, guess what the Steelers have? They have a running back, Najee Harris, that is starting to look maybe not Mark Henry good, but pretty darn good. These last couple of games, he's been running the ball very effectively. This team has been grounding out the tough yards when they need to.
He looked good.
They again, it's a one-game sample size. I get it. But, boy, Russell Wilson seemed, again, as that game went on, it'll be interesting to see if he can put kind of four quarters together the way he did the second half against the Jets when they faced the Giants and build maybe a little more continuity and a little more confidence with what that offense can do. But I'm not sitting here as we look around right now in the AFC. I mean, you tell me that the team that if the Steelers offense, again, continues to progress, and it's a big if, but if that offense can put up 30 points a game, average 30 points a game from here on out, with that defense and with that kicker, you're telling me there's a team that, there's no way the Steelers would ever. I don't see it. I get it. The Chiefs are the Chiefs. Fantastic.
The Ravens.
The Ravens are phenomenal. The one team that the Steelers know best and match up with, it does not seem to matter if you have a year where the Ravens are 16-0 and the Steelers are 0-16, or the Steelers are 16-0 and the Ravens are 0-16. 95% of the time, that game's coming down to a one-scorer game. So, yeah, right now, if you're asking me who looks like the most impressive team after watching that Ravens game last night, in the AFC, it would be the Ravens. That's the one team that the Steelers, kind of like Penn State and Ohio State, they're always going to be there. Now, being there and winning, I get it, two different things. They'll have a couple of opportunities in the regular season. We'll see how that plays out. But even with the Ravens or the Chiefs or whoever you think is, if you think somebody's better than them, I give the Steelers at least a puncher's chance against any of those teams if Russell Wilson plays the way he did in the second half and that offense generates the production it did in the second half of that game against the Jets, and the defense continues to be the Steelers' defense.
I like watching Rodgers implode. It's like one of my guilty pleasures in on Sundays.
Well, it is. I will say it's getting hard to not say he's the problem. I mean, they keep putting everything he wants around him, and he keeps not producing. And the one interception, you can't really pin on him.
Spot on.
Out loud. I mean, he puts it, right where it needs to be. But a couple of turnovers.
That was
as a
that
team
was
with
the
that
turning game.
offense.
That game turned right then and there.
No question about it.
And by the way, did you see Devontae Adams' hustle on that play, making that tackle on the 1 yard line? It was very impressive.
Well,
very impressive. So, yeah, like I said, the guilty pleasure in life is watching Rodgers implode because I just don't like. I was telling Brenton, assistant manager here, when I was having lunch earlier. I said, it's like, who has tarnished their image more with their late career antics, Brett Favre or an Aaron Rodgers? I mean, they're so similar.
Yeah.
Yeah. And I just, it's just like Rodgers has become like this little petulant child, and then I used to go crazy with the whole, is Brett Favre coming back? Is he not coming back type of thing, Used to just drive me crazy. There's a plane leaving Green Bay. It's going to Hyattsville, Mississippi, and this and that. Or there's somebody leaving here, and me. It used to drive me crazy. But then I'm watching Aaron Rodgers, and it's the same damn thing. I don't know what it is. I don't know what it is. Is that were they spoiled in Green Bay that much and this and that? But I mean, you're right. Rodgers has been given everything he has asked. He has gotten coaches fired. He has had how many of his Green Bay Packer teammates on the team now? We have Lazard. You got Adams now. You had the guy last year.
It's not a roster that's devoid of talent.
And I got to say, though, I will say this, is that I was in and out of sleep Sunday night because of the travel and all that stuff. Yeah. But JJ was not playing, unless I saw plays that he didn't perform. But he didn't have that much of an impact in that game.
No, he really did.
And I don't know if that was the Morgan Moses guy playing right tackle, having played against him for a couple times, or they specifically went after him and saying, you know what, we're not going to get beat by him, because he really did not have an impact on that game. Now, others did. Now, if they're doubling him, that's going to free somebody else up. For sure. Oh, with Highsmith on the other side, 56, he had a couple hell of a couple nice rushes. So, but that's something to look at. Is he getting beat up and worn down, having every week to perform at the level he does? And, it's a long season, obviously, but it seems like they're coming around a little bit. And they got the Giants this week, it pretty much could, but they're coming off of a bad loss to the Eagles. So they're going to feel a little bit of pressure there. So it might be a tough game for the Steelers this week.
Yeah, Eagles, no, at Acrisure.
Oh.
The Eagles, I'll be rooting for the Eagles. They go to Cincinnati to take on the Bengals, and this would be a good one for the Eagles to get for their sake, as well as the Steelers, because right now, if you're Pittsburgh, you're wanting this to be a 2-horse race with the Steelers and the Ravens, and not allow Cincinnati up off the mat. This feels like it could be kind of a pivotal game in the Bengals season to me. At home, this feels, I know we're early and the whole must-win stuff is way overdone. I'm not going to say that, but I will say it is getting harder to see if they lose this one, the Bengals lose this one, to see the path to like a division title, and even it becomes more difficult to see the path even to a playoff berth for them. Whereas if they win it, I think the confidence level within that organization is such that it's like, all right, well, now here we go.
Baltimore,
it's
Baltimore was
a
almost 0-3 this year. You remember?
Yeah, oh yeah.
And they are just rolling right now. And the Bengals can get on that same kick right now that the Ravens are on, because they have the ability. They have the talent. My Lord.
Yes. I'm really curious. I'll be rooting for the Eagles. I think
we don't want you, because I can't root for the Steelers, because I'm 0-2 as a Steelers fan.
This is a tough matchup, I think, for
I'm a Steelers fan
for
again
Cincinnati
this week,
because of the way the Eagles are playing right now. And how about Saquon Barkley going off the way he did? And listen, he is, I think he's second or third right now in overall rushing, but in yards per carry, he is leading among those that have substantial carries. He's averaging, like, what is it, 6.2 or something yards per carry. I mean, it's insane.
Did you see the video at the end of the game with him and Sirianni?
Yeah.
Even my wife was like, dude, that is amazing.
Yeah.
Sirianni wanted to pulled the starters and said, Saquon, you're 14 yards from your career high in rushing.
Yeah.
Against the team that drafted you, the team that did not offer you a contract. I don't know how he didn't say, yeah, I want to go running up on these guys. And he says, Coach, I'm good. I want to see the young boys eat.
Yep.
Let the young boys eat. And I'm like, even Kerry was like, dude, that's amazing. In this culture nowadays, but that's him.
Yeah.
That's him. That is the Saquon that we know and we're accustomed to at Penn State. And just an amazing person to say something like that in the game. And then, I liked seeing them release that video because that was pretty awesome. Because that was actually a very sincere thing. And he goes, "No, Coach, I don't want to do that. I want to let the young boys, let the young bucks eat."
Yeah, and listen, so that is one of the reasons that I have some confidence right now in this Penn State football team. And I saw they had Cale come in and talk to the team. Yeah. Well, he did it, before the season, but they brought him in to talk to the team. And one of the things, if you saw Nick Saban's piece, and I'm sometime in the last couple of weeks, but he was talking about when he went from being a good coach to getting the most out of his kids all the time. And it was when he started focusing, I'm not stating this the way he did, but it was and I'm forgetting, it was transgression versus transactional. And he had been a transactional coach. This was Saban saying that Saban had been a transactional coach, and he started to focus just on the process and not letting the results take care of themselves. And when I think of Cale and his staff, and what I'm guessing the basic message was to the football team, it really is about trusting that by doing what the coaches are asking you to do, and by doing what are the right things to do, and this is across the board: right diet, getting enough sleep, taking care of your lifestyle, not letting outside noise affect you, staying focused. When you do that, when you have a clear purpose of what your goal is and what your intentions are, the statistics become less significant. Like Saquon Barkley's not sitting there saying, "Man, I want to get my record." He's saying, "I want to get a win." Hey, we got the win. This is what do I need to go out and put myself at risk for a record that doesn't really mean anything to me, because my focus isn't on getting records or revenge against this organization. My focus is on how can I help this team be the best it can be and win games now and throughout the season. And I think this Penn State team, and listen, what this does is allow you the opportunity to succeed. It doesn't guarantee success, right? Like you can have the right attitude and the right work ethic and still lose, because there's other teams that are out there that have the right, that have a high skill level. And let's start there. You have to have the athletic ability to start with, but there are other teams that have it. And then there's inevitably a bounce of the ball somewhere that goes the right way or goes the wrong way, but it gives you a chance to go out and be successful if you're taking care of all of the things that are within your control, and you're recognizing that, listen, it is at the end of the day a game. Let's go out and play it. Let's have some fun. There's not real pressure. Like there's pressure, but it's not. You lose the game, you walk off the field, you shake hands, and you go on with your life. Like and same thing if you win. It's like, man, that's a really cool win. And even if you win a national title, right? Like hopefully that doesn't end up defining your life. It's a really special moment along your journey is what you're hoping, but you don't want that to be the defining moment of your life. Like hopefully you're going to go on and have a family. You're going to find success in business. You're going to find success in other avenues of life. But it's a really cool moment, a really cool opportunity when you have it, and something that is obviously really, really special, and that very few people even get the chance to truly compete for and to be involved in. So, not surprised by Saquon Barkley, and it's kind of that mentality that I think James Franklin tries to instill in his teams. And I think this team, and I'm guessing it was reinforced by Cale's message to them. It's like, hey, what is your purpose? What is your focus here? And what are you going to do to try to make sure you're giving yourself every opportunity to achieve that goal? And at the end of the day, if you do that, then you're okay letting the chips fall where
they anybody record any of that, or is this like a private thing with Cale and the guys?
If it was recorded, I haven't seen it posted anywhere. I guess I don't know that.
I'd be interested to see. I would love to hear him. I mean, we did that thing for Marty, and he spoke at that conference, and he's just so soft-spoken and this and that, but his words are so powerful.
No doubt about that.
That's legit, man.
All right, we're going to take a break here. We are back with more. It is the Lion Country Kia Goon and Ironhead show here at Quaker Steak and Lube, and you are listening to WFXS Pleasant Gap State College, also known as Sports Radio 98.7 The Fox.
Coast into fall with a new Kia from Lion Country Kia. Right now, get a 24 Kia Seltos for 5.25% APR for up to 48 months. A new Sportage plug-in hybrid at 0.9% APR. Check out our 23 Sorrento hybrid for as low as 4.5% APR. And don't forget, all 2023 and 2024 Kias come with a 10-year, 100,000-mile limited warranty. Stop in and meet with one of our sales experts today and coast into fall at Lion Country Kia. We want to see you in a Kia.
If you love wings, if you love rings, and all kinds of other tempting things, great times, great food, get to Quaker Steak and Lube.
Get our Best Wings USA, signature sauces, mouth-watering appetizers, or any of our delicious award-winning lube favorites.
Great times, great food, get to Quaker Steak and Lube.
The Center Hall Farm Store has been serving Center County and beyond for well over a half-century. A small family business, the Center Hall Farm Store specializes in animal nutrition and manufactures its feed fresh using local ingredients. Get the best in horse, cow, pig, chicken, and bird feeds. If you're not already a customer, stop in and see why so many of your neighbors are. The Center Hall Farm Store at 110 West Allison Street in Center Hall, or call us at 814-364-1393.
A lot has changed about State College. One thing that hasn't is W.C. Clark's Coffee Roasters on 234 East Calder Way. 30 different varieties of specialty coffee beans sourced from over 25 countries and roasted with love each morning in Happy Valley for over 45 years. They'll ship their fresh roasted coffee from their doorstep to yours. Order online at statecollegecoffee.com. That's statecollegecoffee.com.
Two of the top names in local printing have combined to serve you better. King Printing of State College has merged with theprinters.com, forming one of the 400 largest printers in America. Combining traditional offset printing and digital workflow techniques, theprinters.com can print, assemble, package, and ship to anywhere in the world, all with the same high quality customers have known and trusted for over 50 years. Buy local and save. Get started today at theprinters.com.
Ready to be part of something bigger? Come pave the road to success at Glen Baker and discover a career where your hard work and determination can build a bigger, better future. Our team believes we can build a stronger future together. Join us at Glen Baker, where we value teamwork on the field and on the job. Go to GOHcareers.com to apply. GOHcareers.com. And best of luck to all the Center County sports teams all season long from everyone at Glen Baker.
With a Timber Kids savings account, you can start to save money, earn prizes, and teach your kids the value of savings. It's easy as 1, 2, 3. Building futures is what we do at TFCU.
You really need to belong to a credit union. You belong at TFCU, Timberland Federal Credit Union. a credit union you can grow with.
WFXS, once again.
Your sports radio. Broadcasting live, loud and proud from Central PA's Sports Authority. WFXS America. 98.7. The Fox State College. The Goon and Ironhead.
We welcome you back on this Tuesday afternoon. My gosh, what a gorgeous Tuesday it is here in late October, Goon.
Buddy, I just came back from heaven, man. It was nice and chill. I come down here and it's 73 degrees.
Yeah.
Absolutely beautiful, man.
It is. It's been just a absolutely perfect 4 or 5 day stretch here.
Talking about this Maine trip, but I'm telling you, the reason we go is my in-laws went there when they were younger, and then they said then they had kids, and then just got away from it. They stopped going. But it's the traveling up, 84 and working your way northwest, seeing the foliage.
Oh my God!
It is just seeing the different gorges and the different valleys in Pennsylvania, upstate New York, Connecticut, Maine, New Hampshire, all of that stuff. Massachusetts, it was beautiful. And you just sit there and you're like, you go up to Maine and it's like this looks like Pennsylvania the whole way down. And being the history guy that I am, and it's like, well, we all were. There's one big forest at one point.
Yep.
So my father-in-law asked me the other day, what was your favorite class at Penn State? Do you remember what your favorite class was?
Yeah, mine was actually, it was a couple, but not surprisingly, they were sports related. John Lucas taught one on Olympics, on the Olympic Games. John Lucas was just an amazing individual. And he had, to me, a wonderful perspective, personal stories. He had gone to, and now I'm forgetting the exact number of Olympic Games, but he had a deep appreciation and affinity for them, but also recognized the flaws and like everything that's
the doping and stuff like that
by
and
humans.
Russian judges and
a whole list of things. But the
history of the
he
Olympic
loved
Games.
The ideal of the Olympics, as I think most people do, because the ideal is, it is appealing to our better selves. It is, let's all come together in the spirit of competition. We just, not where I thought we were going to go, but we're going to go there.
Right.
So we had the Center County Sports Hall of Fame just inducted its 7th class this past Sunday, and I'm very fortunate to be allowed to MC that event and absolutely love it. And we inducted another great class, and Greg Folk, who is a Special Olympian from State College, who has more. I knew he had won a lot of medals. I had no idea. His table was there. I don't want to exaggerate, but it had to be over 100
from the Special
medals
Olympics.
from the Special
the
Olympics
worldwide Olympics too, right?
Well, yeah, he has a silver from the games in Greece with golf, but part of the celebration of him was that he personifies the whole Special Olympic credo of let me win, but if I cannot win, let me be brave in the attempt. And that really is kind of the model of the Olympic Games. Again, the idealistic version of the Olympic Games is, hey, go there, do your best. You're trying to win, and if you don't, you shake hands, and man, how cool that we get to see the world come together. Like, that's what the purpose is. And anyways, John Lucas's class was phenomenal. Ron Smith also taught one that was very impactful for me on college athletics and the history of college sports. And I'm forgetting the name of either of the courses, but Ron Smith, whose daughter Penny graduated, I think, a year ahead of me at State College High School. But he also has just a tremendous understanding. And I keep thinking at some point, maybe reach out to him because I am dying to know what his perspective is on all that has transpired here in the last few years in college athletics.
Yeah.
But he had his class was really good at looking at the history and kind of the Ivy League model that became what it is. Well, the Ivy Leagues basically picked up their ball and went home because other teams were becoming more adept at what they were doing, and so they decided that I'm oversimplifying this a bit, but it's like, well, if we're not going to be dominant, then we'll carve ourselves out as being special in other ways. is kind of the short of it, and so. But the history of college athletics and the way things changed from decade to decade and with different schools, different conferences, it was really a fascinating class. And obviously both of those classes were things that I was already interested in, and which obviously always helps.
Why I was a
What
history
about
major.
you?
That's why I became a history major, because it was the only thing that really interested me.
I can tell you what my least favorite class at Penn State was, and that was accounting, because I am a lousy accountant, it turns out. Have no accounting ability whatsoever.
I mean, I was always good at math, but I say when they put the alphabet in there, I was shot. I had no chance. But no, Dr. France, History of Pennsylvania. Absolutely an amazing class. Just hearing from when it started to what it is and how it was formed and how the towns came around and all that, it was freaking awesome. How like the different parts of the state were for different reasons. The Northwest was the timber capital, the leathering, the tanning. Pittsburgh was obviously the steel, and then the central, the northeast, north central was the coal, and Philadelphia was the textiles and mills and the navy yards, and just absolutely amazing. And then mostly 90% rural. But I always thought that the coolest thing I heard in that class, and I remember till the day I die, is what percentage of land in Pennsylvania was deciduous, which is obviously it's a forest. When I don't know if it was when it was founded or when it was created.
And initially discovered.
So what percent do you think was a deciduous forest? And the deciduous forest looks like Mount Nittany.
Yeah.
But that's the land.
90%.
98.
Is that right?
And it goes the whole way from the whole Appalachians. So like the whole mid-Atlantic and Northeast was all just timber. It was all deciduous and all that stuff. And now it's 58 to 60 because we looked it up. And that's still a lot. But, you figure 98% of it was woods, was deciduous woods. But then the other 2% had to be water. You know what I mean? So the whole state was, like if we look at a forest right now, that's exactly what Pennsylvania was. And it was the same way. I mean, you look at Maine all the way, and I drive to Tennessee. Everyone's when I go to Nashville, you see it's the same mountains and the same colors and the same. It's beautiful. So
that is.
Pennsylvania is a beautiful damn state. And I just, every time I drive up there and I think about it, and then I'm driving home on 80, and you see the different. You're on top of the hill, looking down in the valley of Lock Haven. There's that gorge over there, and it's just pretty awesome, man. You got to say, man, we live in a pretty fantastic state. I love the up on 99 when you're looking down, like before Tyrone, you get that whole valley there.
Yep.
So I don't know. Have you ever heard of the Breakers Mansions? It's the Vanderbilt Mansion that's in Rhode Island, Newport. There's a set of mansions up there. Salve Regina University is there, Salve Regina College. So it's right on the water coming in Newport, Rhode Island. So they have these Vanderbilt homes. So it's the second generation of Vanderbilt. So you know exactly what it is. We're still paying $35 to go in and look at the extravagance of this family and stuff like that. But there's a whole bunch of them on these little jetties and little piers and the little outlooks of the ocean up there. And I was told that they are in process of putting the air windmills that you see in like Altoona, heading Altoona, that are on top of the mountains. They're going to put them out in the ocean. And I'm like, you were going to destroy this view for something that is not really sustainable, because they do need, it's not economically, it's not, whatever. I don't want to go down that route, but it's like, Not the smartest thing, but I'm looking at this and I'm like, this is a beautiful part of the country, and you are going to completely blight it by putting 100 or 1,000 of these windmills out there, and that's going to take away the whole view, the whole, the sun setting, the sun rising. You're going to see these big ass fans.
Yep.
And I was like, man, what are you doing? So the lady said the footprint of all of these will be bigger than the state of Rhode Island. That's how many they're going to put out there. And that's just like, man, we are just destroying just absolutely beautiful, gorgeous views. For what? I don't know. I mean, if it is sustainable, that's great, but is it sustainable? We don't know. They still cost $40 million to put up, and they still run on oil and diesel, and they still need all that stuff. And
yep,
I don't think you're getting enough energy out of it and transferring the energy for the work to just destroy. I mean, I'm looking at this beautiful home, Jeff, $100 million home, probably $10 billion. I don't know what it was, what it is, but it's just just extravagance. And I'm like, wow, and they're just going to completely ruin it by putting these big fans out there in the ocean. Sad, sad, sad. But I know we're off track a whole bunch there, but I just love the state of Pennsylvania. It's a beautiful thing, but looking at the foliage and stuff like that from here to Maine was the exact same, and it was pretty awesome ride.
Yeah, that's sometime we need to do that. My wife and I'd like to drive up in that area anyway.
Perfect. No beach. There's a beach there. It says no goons allowed, pretty much. It's cold.
Yeah.
I'm like, I don't need to go on the beach anyway. Throw me in the pool. But it was like, it was mid 50s, early 60s, mid 60s all weekend. It was just perfect. It was like, sweatshirt weather. You like a fleece jacket type of weather, shorts and shoes. Just my perfect weather where you're not just sitting there sweltering. Renting a nice place up there. Got 4 days for about $1,000. Perfect place, 3-bedroom. 4 of us went up there, ate and drank like Vikings. It was beautiful. Killed it, Ironhead. Killed it.
I am not even a little surprised.
Ask me what the best thing was, and I'm going to blow your mind.
Well, it had to be the lobster, no? All right, I'm all ears.
The restaurant we went to in
Kennebunkport,
Kennebunkport, where we stayed in Kennebunkport. Allison's, it's our favorite restaurant in the world. They have lobster bisque. So my in-laws, they'll have a cup of bisque, and they put a spoon in it, and it will not hit the bottom because there's so much lobster in it. Right?
Yeah.
So think about how thick that is. Get a plate of fries. Put some cheddar cheese on top of them. They're called curds.
Yeah.
Cover it with the lobster bisque, and it's called lobster bisque poutine. Like the what the poutine is with the gravy and stuff like that.
Yeah.
But they use the lobster bisque.
Yeah.
And then they top it with another handful of lobster on top of it.
I like it. That's pretty hard to beat.
We went there twice.
I don't blame.
I had the same order twice.
I think that was the right thing to do. I cannot find any fault in that whatsoever.
None, Jeff, none at all. I will find you a picture, just a quickie. We don't need to, it's not for everything, not for everybody to see. Risotto. Oh, there we go. Poutine.
That
lobster.
Does look awfully darn good.
Those orange things you see there, they're hunks of lobster.
There you go.
Ooh,
the way it's supposed to be.
And then my favorite, Allagash White.
Not a bad trip for the deer.
No, it was perfect. And you know why we did it. My father-in-law's going, he had some cancer scares this past December and Christmas. So, we usually go away to the beach one time in the Outer Banks or below. And we go to Maine sometimes. But, he said, we can't do it this year. I'm, in chemo and in radiation. So when he got cleared, he got the okay. And he goes, all right, let's go. We're doing so we had 2 bye weeks. And we went to the Outer Banks one and then Maine for the other. I don't have any bye weeks. No bye weeks for Goon.
Goon, have you been? We're just watching. They have Bulls press conference going on here at Tampa. Why are they getting so much grief, Tampa Bay, for? Yeah, it was awful to see Chris Godwin, the former Penn State great, go down with an injury. But do we not see every week a bunch of starters in the games late? And Tampa was still I'm sure the ESPN probability of a Tampa Bay win was at about 0.001
Correct.
At that point. But the Buccaneers were they were
was
like
only a
if they had
10-point
made,
game.
if they had made the recovery, they were going to try to get, obviously another score and then try to do another onside kick. Yeah, the likelihood of it, I get it. not
but it
very
wasn't
likely.
over.
But yeah, but they're playing. They were still playing to win. But even I don't know. I was caught off guard by just how many questions and how much criticism he seems to be coming under for having a wide receiver out there playing late in a game. I like he is getting skewered down there for it,
and
by some Penn State fans online here. It's like, well, it's because of him that he's hurt. I'm like, well,
because they're still in the game.
It's just
I never understood.
Like it stinks, but I mean, I don't know. It seems like
If it was college, I could understand that
overkill.
because you have so many guys. But in the NFL, you only have a certain amount of guys. And Evans was already out of the game. He had torn his hamstring in the second quarter, so he was done. So they probably didn't have the numbers, and he's out there. And Chris Godwin's going to go out there and play hard every play. He absolutely will. He should not be catching crap for that. I mean, I always used to get mad. Remember when Bill O'Brien used to leave Matt McGloin in the fourth quarter?
Yep.
And you're like, get him out of the game. The game is over. It's won. But Bill was like, it's the NFL. I coach like the NFL. He's my starting quarterback. He's going to finish the game. And that's how the NFL is run. And the media, I'm so sick of it. It's like they just create stuff, Jeff.
This one really does. Because it'd be one thing if this was the exception to the rule, but
if they were down 30 points and he breaks his ankle, yes, I have an issue with that. They're down 10 points and still trying to play.
Although even then, yes, I agree with you, but I don't know. To me, this is way overkill, and I don't. You cannot coach based on, hey, what if this guy gets injured here in this situation? Is this situation worth it? I mean, you don't drive yourself batty. Would you do? Well, you only have 25 seconds left, and you're at your own 30, let's say, in the first half. Well, why would you put your starters out there? Just to take a knee? I don't know, because it's what we do. And maybe we try a play, maybe we don't. But if you don't, and somehow, an ankle gets twisted, I don't know. Like,
so to go along with our social media world, in that is that I hear somebody complaining that Penn State fans should not go to the Ohio State game out of because we're sick of playing noon games. So somebody said this. Somebody said we should boycott the Ohio State game, and that will teach television.
Yep,
that's going to teach them a lesson. But do you realize what the amount of money that Penn State gets for playing in a Fox noon game?
Yeah, and at the end of the day, yes. Do I prefer the late kickoff?
Yes, we
of course. Do you want a night game for the big games like that? But you can't go up there and enjoy it at noon. Like I don't know. I don't really.
I'll be there at 6:49.
Yes, I wish. Again, I certainly wish it was later. But it's not like it ruins the opportunity to go
just
up.
Like somebody's saying, like, "Oh, we got it." That's the only way the TV's going to listen to. Guess what? The TV's going to be there if the fans aren't or not. All you're doing is hurting your team by saying boycott the game.
Yeah, I hadn't even seen that.
Just
well, while we're on it and people's gripes, did you see there was a bit of a firestorm, at least online? And again, the interesting thing is you can create a perceived firestorm by having 5 or 6 people comment and make it, and then all of a sudden that gets extrapolated to, well, Penn State fans are, well, yeah, it's 5 or 6 fans. But there was, and now I'm even forgetting, it was somewhere on social media, and it was a Penn State fan group page, and somebody posted they felt Joey Porter and Pat Freiermuth were disrespectful, and it really hurt them, hurt the fan to see them be so disrespectful. Yes, by not saying. And again, maybe we're all entitled to our opinions. I'm not saying you can't have the opinion. It's just if honest to God, if somebody's identification for their introductions in a football game is causing you angst, I really think maybe you ought to
turn it back and just back off a little bit.
Sit back for a little bit. And these guys are, to my knowledge, still very much in touch with Penn State, very appreciative of the experience here, all that. You don't have to 24/7 grovel at the opportunity you were given. Hey, thank you. Thank you for the educational opportunity. Thank you for the athletic experience. And that really, at the end of the day, is all they owe.
Hey, by the way, did you
Penn State
see the article that Pat Fryermuth wrote about his upbringing with football? About his grandfather picking him up from practice every day, and from he was watching.
Not.
It was really freaking good, man.
I will have to check that out.
I got a little overjoyous. It may have spiked the football. And he says, Pat, you give the ball to the referee, act like you've been there before.
There you go.
And I was like, damn. I mean, you could see Fryermuth. And these are the same people who say, are they booing Fryermuth? Are they booing him? Why are they booing Pat? Why are they doing that? You know? And that's just everybody has their social media voice and all that. But
all right. Well, that's going to take me to one last.
Go ahead, bring it up, baby.
Now that we're just skewering the fans left and right. One of the things I did read on one of the Steelers, actually, and I don't even know. I'm trying to think what it was, because I don't go on the Steelers site. So maybe it was just on one of the Penn State sites, and they got into a discussion somehow. But it was, listen, Russell Wilson's numbers look great, but go back and look at the number of plays that the receivers made. Like, he got lucky. and I'm just – it just cracked me up, because but we heard the same thing. Trace McSorley in 2016, we took, I forget if it was I want to say it was somebody down here, but it might have been a call or something. But anyways, but I just remember the fans saying, Trace isn't that good of a quarterback. He just throws it up there a lot of the times, and then those guys go, it's like, well, right, that's his job. But he's throwing it to where they can catch it. And like, that is what the great quarterbacks do, is yes, you don't just throw when the player is wide open and deliver it every time right where it's the easiest catch in the world. Like, that'd be cool. That's just not the world of the NFL or even big time college football generally. Yes, every now and then you get that blown coverage. By all means, take advantage of it. But generally, yeah, it's a guy that's going to be covered, and you need to put it in a place where he can go make a play. And yeah, you need him to go make a play. And if he does, then you look great. And if he doesn't, you don't look so great. But that's kind of the game of football, the ultimate team sport.
So Kerry wasn't anything without Freddie, Kyle, and Bobby. That's the bottom line. If he had to throw to Olsen or Chris Campbell and Justin Williams, it'd be done. They're just they just made him.
And there's no question there were some great catches made. Pickens had a couple of highlight reel film
What's up with that?
Catches. I don't know.
He's back in the mix now. I mean, he
just
seems like a pouty little.
Yep, he does. And then Fryermuth with that one-handed catch over the head. I mean, they were phenomenal. But
they were
perfectly but Russell Wilson put it where they could go make a play, and that's the name of the game, kids. Now, again, we'll see if this does ignite something here with the Steelers, or if this is a one-game aberration with this offense. But boy, it felt and feels in the moment like, nope, the Steelers found something here. With Russell Wilson at the helm and Arthur Smith calling. And listen, the other part of it is Najee Harris, again, this is 2 weeks in a row now where he has looked like he's gone over 100 yards, and he looks like a running back that can be a real factor here. So
he's my guy.
Let's see how this thing
got
plays
him on
out.
My fantasy team. So
there you go.
I'm cheering for him. I think I have him on 2.
Feels like they have
How's the head
chance
doing?
Here to do.
Do I have to ask the horse
something.
how the head's doing?
Oh,
Jeff,
not good. Well, I had Jaden Daniels on Sunday. That didn't help me. Christian McCaffrey. I had the first pick because I was last year. So Christian McCaffrey, you see how well that's
he's playing well.
It's it's been a
he's in Iceland now looking for surgery.
Disaster. Now you got me all worked up and angry, and we're going to take a break. We're coming back with more of the Lion Country Kia Goon Ironhead show after this.
Coast into fall with a new Kia from Lion Country Kia. Right now, get a 24 Kia Seltos for 5.25% APR for up to 48 months. A new Sportage plug-in hybrid at 0.9% APR. Check out our 23 Sorrento hybrid for as low as 4.5% APR. And don't forget, all 2023 and 2024 Kias come with a 10-year, 100,000-mile limited warranty. Stop in and meet with one of our sales experts today and coast into fall at Lion Country Kia. We want to see you in a Kia.
If you love wings, if you love rings, and all kinds of other tempting things, great times, great food, get to Quaker Steak Lube.
Get our Best Wings USA, signature sauces, mouth-watering appetizers, or any of our delicious award-winning lube favorites.
Great times, great food, get to Quaker Steak Lube.
The Center Hall Farm Store has been serving Center County and beyond for well over a half century. A small family business, the Center Hall Farm Store specializes in animal nutrition and manufactures its feed fresh using local ingredients. Get the best in horse, cow, pig, chicken, and bird feeds. If you're not already a customer, stop in and see why so many of your neighbors are. The Center Hall Farm Store at 110 West Allison Street in Center Hall, or call us at 814-364-1393.
A lot has changed about State College. One thing that hasn't is W.C. Clark's Coffee Roasters on 234 East Calder Way. 30 different varieties of specialty coffee beans sourced from over 25 countries and roasted with love each morning in Happy Valley for over 45 years. They'll ship their fresh roasted coffee from their doorstep to yours. Order online at statecollegecoffee.com. That's statecollegecoffee.com.
Two of the top names in local printing have combined to serve you better. King Printing of State College has merged with theprinters.com, forming one of the 400 largest printers in America. Combining traditional offset printing and digital workflow techniques, theprinters.com can print, assemble, package, and ship to anywhere in the world, all with the same high quality customers have known and trusted for over 50 years. Buy local and save. Get started today at theprinters.com.
Ready to be part of something bigger? Come pave the road to success at Glen O'Habaker and discover a career where your hard work and determination can build a bigger, better future. Our team believes we can build a stronger future together. Join us at Glen O'Habaker, where we value teamwork on the field and on the job. Go to GOHcareers.com to apply. GOHcareers.com. And best of luck to all the Center County sports teams all season long from everyone at Glen O'Habaker.
With a Timber Kids savings account, you can start to save money, earn prizes, and teach your kids the value of savings. It's easy as 1, 2, 3. Building futures is what we do at TFCU.
You really need to belong to a credit union. You belong at TFCU, Timberland Federal Credit Union, a credit union you can grow with.
Get up and get going. 98.7 The Fox, the Goon and Ironhead.
And we are back here on this Tuesday afternoon. What are you thinking of the World Series here, Goon?
What, it's going on? It's not over. I think Major League Baseball got what they totally won.
That is a fact. They have star power for sure. Shohei Ohtani and Aaron Judge and company and two markets and all of that. No question. It worked out beautifully.
Does it
for Major League Baseball?
Me personally, Friday night is the opening of the World Series, and then Saturday night is Game 2.
Yep.
I won't watch a pitch. You know?
Well, yeah, I won't either.
I mean, that's just how I mean, it's football season to me. My teams aren't involved in this and that. Now, they're playing Monday night because they have Sunday off and they're going to play Monday. So they're going to go. They don't like to go against the NFL on Sunday, but they will on Monday night. But The Monday Night Football
Yeah, I
or
didn't
baseball
even
game.
think about that. Yeah, I probably won't see any of the first three games.
You watch football, right? I mean, it's just like I think baseball needs to have a little come to Jesus meeting and say, you know what, we can't compete with football at this point right now. Not head to head. It's just not happening unless, you have the New York and LA audiences, which are obviously huge. They're huge audiences, but,
Yeah.
Ugh.
That will be fun, though.
I mean, yeah, I'll watch them when if there's a Monday night game on that's crap, I'll watch the baseball game a little bit, but.
Yeah, hopefully the Steelers have it in hand by the time that game reaches halftime.
Okay, so the Yinzers play Saturday. They play Monday night versus the Giants. So the Giants have a Monday night football game. My Lord.
Yeah.
And it'll be where's the game?
Pittsburgh.
No. Oh, okay.
Monday night game?
Okay, not, yeah. I was thinking like where's the World Series game?
They'll be.
It doesn't matter if the game's in Pittsburgh. I didn't know if they were both in New York on Monday. But it's in Pittsburgh.
Oh, yeah.
AccuSure. I can't believe you called it that, Jeff.
Yeah.
I'm very disappointed you called it that.
Well, sorry about that.
You tell me.
So
we got Ironhead fans here.
that might be overstating it a bit. Let's talk a little. So college football.
Have you ever been to Wisconsin?
Yes.
For games and all that stuff?
Yeah, actually, it was the first. I think I'm right about this for football. It was the first Big Ten
96
stadium I was in.
Would have been the first time we played out there in 96.
And we had an absolute blast. So the Penn State women's soccer team played there on the Friday night, and I was sports director at another station in town at the time. And so we went out for the football game, but we were out there Friday. It's like, well, and
this is 96, our first time out there playing.
We were covering, I think so.
Yeah.
And
I didn't play them.
We were covering the soccer team as with the station too. So we went over to watch that, and then went out in Madison,
tore it up,
and oh man, did we have a good time. I forget what the bar was now. Oh, but they would not let you in unless you had red on. And I had just I had a Penn State jacket, and no red on the shirt. I think it was just, I don't know, a white shirt or whatever. But so we're waiting in line, and there's a group of girls in front of us. They're like, "You guys from Penn State?" It's like, yeah, like, you got to have something red on. And so the one girl reached in and she's like, here, if you'll, I can color your, the lettering on your Penn State jacket.
Lipstick.
So she just, put lipstick on the lettering. And we got to the door and the guy's like, yeah, you're good. I'm like, all right, this is cool.
Yeah.
It was fun. We had, I
got two good experiences.
Very, very good night.
I never played there.
And the game was
that was a big upset, a huge upset. 96 was the first time we played there, but they whooped us in 95 when they came here. That's our first Big Ten loss in 3 years. So my one story is that Sweeney and I, Tim Sweeney and I, drove out there right after Joe got fired. Remember, they played Wisconsin. They played Nebraska at home, and they played Wisconsin last game. We went out there just to support the guys, and it was just like one of those things. And our guys there, I think our guys had already mailed it in by then because we drove out there. We left it it was halftime. Russell Wilson was driving, killing us. And it was funny is because my sales manager from Richmond, Virginia, my old job before I moved back to Penn State was at Mass Mutual. And my sales manager was Russell Wilson's former father-in-law. So, they were out there. I hung out with them, and then, I didn't meet Russell or anything like that, but we were out there for that game. And then the parking is horrendous. There's no parking in the stadium. You have to park. We parked it in a neighborhood. So think about it. If the poop plant over behind the new Wendy's, the old Burger King.
Yeah.
Imagine the stadium being there, and then you just drove up and you parked in people's homes, and they would be like, yeah, $20, park it here. So me and Sweeney were like, hey, man, we're driving back to Pennsylvania, and like, keep us close to the back. And you're just giving your keys to this person at this door in a home. You know, it's like somebody on Fairmont Avenue, just, you know, park here, collect $20, and they have your keys, and if they got to move your car. So we got out there. We were getting smoked. We weren't playing well, but we weren't out of it. In the opening kick of the second half, and we had the ball, and we fumbled it. And then Wilson throws a quick touchdown pass, and we're down like 20. And I'm like, me and Sweeney are like, let's just get the hell out of here, you know? So we walked back to this house, and we told the guy, hey, leave us in the lot at top, because we're going to get out of here. We're in the bottom. So we literally had to wait for the whole end of the game for everybody to get in there. We wasted how much time just sitting there waiting for this. But my other story is, my bad story is that's the day that Joe got his leg snapped. We all know that. Remember that?
Oh, yeah.
That was a bad one. And I remember I was in charge, so they gave me the head coach's headset. And I know Joe never wore them, but they were always there. The head coach's headset can talk to offense and defense. They have a little button on your hip, and listen, you can go offense and defense, talk to Jay Paterno or talk to Tom Bradley. So they give me the headset and say, hey, you're going in the locker room with Joe. He needs to lay down and sit in the training room, but there's a TV in there where he can watch the game. And if there's any decisions, we'll contact you. So me and Joe go. They bring Joe in on the cart, and then I walk in behind into the locker room. I have a headset on and this and that, and then they stopped the game. The referee said, you're not. The Bielema stopped the game and told the referee you're not allowed to go watch a television on the inside and make calls. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So they stopped the game and had me. The referees came in and took me, walked me outside, like I was like the team captain or like the team convict or whatever. I had like a perp walk going outside, and we got outside and people were yelling and screaming this and that, and then goes to say what the old man was hurt really, really bad with the leg, and but that's my Wisconsin story, and it was really funny and also scary because, dude, that leg was nasty, man. When he snapped that thing, that was really bad.
Yep,
and you could tell how tough that little sumbitch was. He just ate it, dude. He didn't you could tell he was in significant pain, but he wasn't wasn't shooting me up or this or that. He was just like, all right, let's just go. He's just sitting there, cool, calm, and collected. And I'm just like, my God, his leg is in 4 pieces. His knee is completely destroyed. His leg was snapped, and it was like, man, tough old man right there. So that was my Wisconsin story out there.
Yep.
And I did like to jump around. I'm not gonna lie.
It is cool.
Yes,
it's
cool.
a fun.
And they're cool people. I mean, when we went out there, me and Sweeney went out to that bar. There's no tailgating really. The tailgating's at a bar. Everybody gets close to the game, and you walk up to the game. So
yeah,
we thought it was great because everybody involved us, and we're doing shot skis or drinking beers. And the night before we were out, and it was very cool people, very fun town type of place. But
it is
it'll be electric this week, and our guys should be ready. I think that we have a very mature team and a very well led team. I'm worried, but I'm not worried. Crazy. I'm more worried about what we're doing at the Football Letterman's Club.
Yes.
So
that is where our focus should be.
Correct. The Blue White Players show. Landon, myself, Chris Buginani, maybe Ironhead and Marissa if she's feeling better.
Yeah.
We're having a little thing at the you can check it out at bluewhiteplayershow.com. There's an invite on there about it's a fundraiser here because we're going to try and keep the show going that we do on Monday nights with our football players. We're going to try to raise funds to get enough money that we can host a show for wrestling, men's, women's hockey, men's, women's basketball, baseball, and softball, winter and spring sports, and have 2 athletes a week come on there and spread the love around a little bit because people do love our show because they get to see a side of a player that they don't really see.
For sure.
And it's really, really, it's more, I like it more than the kids, I think, because I really like doing it and talking to these kids and seeing where they're from and what they're doing.
Yeah.
And, I'm just saying it's not that different from when I was here, but it is very different from when I was here.
Yep.
It's a weird thing, and that's why the show we call it old school, new school, same school. That's the ideology behind it. And then I have my two young co-hosts, and Aeneas Hawkins and Landon Tangwell. Those guys are great. They're still young enough to be on the team, type of thing. Landon had to retire with the concussions and stuff like that, but he does a great job. Smart kid, good interview. And Aeneas is great on behind the mic. So we got a good little group of guys there. So if anybody wants to come out there, BlueWhitePlayerShow.com. Check it out online. It's a $100 donation for a real nice dinner, cash bar, a couple free drinks. But I got to say that the auction items are off the charts, man. The best thing I got, and I got that from called it a few favors, but I have a Cale Sanderson headgear autographed by Cale.
Beautiful.
Yeah. I say for $10,000, maybe they can wear it and you can do whatever you want with it. But yeah.
Yeah.
It ain't gonna go for $10,000, but you know what I'm saying. No, but I just think that's such a nice thing. I got hockey sticks, baseball gloves, balls, basketballs from Coach Rhodes, all this stuff. And then I have a lot of other stuff that I got a Bo Nickel fight glove, LeVar Arrington helmet, Shane Conlin jerseys, Abdul Carter helmet, Abdul Carter football, a lot of different stuff. I got some Travis Kelce stuff in there, Jason Kelce stuff in there. And then I have Troy Polamalu. A Troy Polamalu jersey.
Hey.
You want to hear something funny?
Well,
his uncle lives here.
Sure.
Al Polamalu.
I don't think I did know that.
Well, Al's his uncle.
You knew that he lived here.
Well, he has a house here. They're
College?
here a lot. Yeah. Him and his wife, Pammy, but they'll be with us this week. But it's so funny. And they're like, what? We don't even have a Troy Polamalu jersey even at our house, and he's my nephew. I just find that so freaking funny. But I don't know if you're going to be there. Trey Bauer will be there. My younger guys, Al Polamalu. I don't know if anybody knows Al Polamalu, but one of the nicest guys you'll ever meet in your life.
Yeah.
Just a great, great dude. Really fun to hang out with, and just he's a guy who comes in from St. LaSalle or the Christian Brothers, and one of those modern day out in California, and he came to Penn State.
Yeah, oh yeah.
How does that happen? Little known. You're a Skeller rat.
Yeah, well,
what was the green sign above the bar? It said Samoan Court. There's a street sign. It said Samoan Court. That was for Al.
Is that right?
Yep, that was for Al. That was definitely put in there for Al. And I said, Al, my jersey hung in there for 25 years, and your Samoan Court hung in there for 35. So just good people. If anyone wants to get involved, like I said, BlueWhitePlayerShow.com. The invite's on there. Pay ahead of time. I got to have the numbers in by tomorrow or Thursday. So if you get involved, please.
Cool.
That's it. Bring the Ironhead.
Yep, absolutely. Should be a very good time and chance to watch the Lions whoop up on the Badgers. That's always fun.
In the Football Letterman's Lounge. Not many people have been up there.
That's a pretty unique opportunity. No question. For those of us that are not football Letterman, that's a pretty neat thing.
Very cool spot.
We'll get into this more on Thursday, Goon, but this Illinois-Oregon game on Saturday, I'm expecting Oregon to win it, but I've expected a lot of things to happen that haven't happened. And the way this season is playing out, I think it's now 4-11 the teams that have gone 2 time zones or more in the Big Ten. 4-11. Although I think Booch brought this out last week. It's a little deceiving in that most of the wins were by the favored teams. Like on a neutral field, you'd be like, well, yeah, that team's better anyway. So I know a lot's being made of it. And listen, USC losing to Maryland, Penn State, USC, by a field goal. Like I think there is something to it. I think it is a factor. But this Illinois-Oregon game is really intriguing to me, Goon, because I do think Oregon is riding high, rightfully so right now. And I think Illinois is coming off a maybe tougher than expected game, but I think Illinois is going to be in this thing right to the end. Now, I think Oregon ends up winning it, but I'm going to root for Illinois. because it certainly helps Penn State's cause. And kind of Illinois at the moment is your last chance to hang
that's our
until
marquee.
you get to Ohio State. Yes, it's the game that Penn State fans can hang their hat on right now. But I think Illinois is a team that can give Oregon a run. Need to win the turnover battle. Need to play relatively clean football, no unnecessary penalties. But I think if they do those two things, I think Illinois is capable of at least hanging in there and making this a real game on Saturday. And it will be a 30 kickoff their time out in Eugene.
So it's on 3:30 for us.
Yep. So
that's what we'll be watching before.
Yeah. So just worth, I think, keeping an eye on and seeing what Illinois and company can do. But did not get the help we were looking for with some games last weekend, most notably Georgia Tech. What are you doing? I thought Georgia Tech had a shot there against Notre Dame, and turns out they did not.
That's our guys from the Ireland game, Ironhead.
Yeah,
we were all high on them, and they lost 3 games now.
Down to 10 undefeated teams in FBS football now with Texas's loss. There are now 10 undefeated teams, and as far as biggest storylines in college football, there's a bunch that are out there that would be up for consideration. You certainly, I think most people love the Army-Navy storyline. The longer those two teams can stay undefeated, I just think the cooler that story becomes.
Sure.
Iowa State has been a fascinating story to this point in the season. I mean, Liberty, credit them for being undefeated. I'm not sure how great of a story it is in terms of big-time college football, but we can debate that at another time, maybe get into that a little bit on Thursday. But, Goon, Pitt is sitting there undefeated. Like, what is going on? And I know the schedule, and I know close games, all of that, but are you kidding me right now?
I don't talk about we can't
like
talk
that has
do they
to
play
be
Notre Dame?
That has to be rectified. They do not.
Right?
They're remaining.
So Army Navy both play Notre Dame. So
yeah, I think
that will be marquee wins for Notre Dame. By the way,
Navy has them. I think this week, right?
I think so. Will be super interesting to see what happens with Army Navy versus Notre Dame.
Yeah,
but Pitt doesn't really. They have a very favorable schedule. Do they have to play Clemson or Miami still?
They've had a very they have Clemson in a couple of weeks. Here I'm just pulling up their schedule. Yep. So yeah, their wins to this point in the season, not exactly overwhelming. Kent State, Cincinnati, and Cincinnati by a point. West Virginia by 4. Youngstown State, and then North Carolina by 10, and that was kind of a needing to get over the hump game, even though North Carolina is down type of thing for Pitt. They won by 2 over California. They'll have Syracuse at home this Saturday. That is a losable game. It's actually Thursday.
That's a heck of a game right there, buddy.
That's the Thursday night game.
That's a good game.
And then they're at SMU, and SMU has been playing.
Yes, they have.
I will be surprised if Pitt goes to Dallas and wins that one. That seems like a tall order. Then they're home with Virginia, home with Clemson, and then at Louisville and at Boston College.
God, they got like 19 games left. So they don't play. They're not going to play Miami.
No.
So they'll play Miami.
Well, not in the regular season anyway.
But they have to play in their ACC title game.
That's right.
Interesting. Very, very interesting. I mean, the season, I think it's working out exactly the way we thought it would for Penn State. Getting through that USC gauntlet, the opening game, bye week, and then you go to the second set of games, and then another bye week, and now this is this is the big time right now.
Well, we said back at the start of the season that this stretch at USC, at Wisconsin, and home with Ohio State, if Penn State took care of business everywhere else, which they should, that 3-game stretch would kind of determine the season. And I think that's going to play out. Now, you still have a potentially dangerous game at Minnesota. I mean, you're not completely out of the woods
Late in the
if
year,
you take anything for granted. But presuming they take care of business, they really good. If they win this game over Wisconsin, then they should be in the playoffs, because regardless of what happens with the Ohio State game, they should be closing out the rest of that schedule with wins.
I agree.
They're now
should
woulda, shoulda, coulda, but
again, I think
they'll be substantial favorites in all of the
one.
remaining
I think
games.
our leadership is well enough to get us through the last 4 games.
Yeah, I think this game with Wisconsin, to me, is the last real danger, at least in my mind, of losing a game that you should win. Again, Ohio State will be favored, even though Penn State will likely be ranked higher than Ohio State, and will be home. Ohio State will likely be. Well, actually, I don't know. I think there'll be a point and a half favorite.
That's pretty impressive, because historically the home team will get 3.
Yeah.
So you're saying that Ohio State's a 4-point favorite on a neutral
field? That feels about right.
I feel about right with that, but it might be a pick.
It could, because money. Well,
and they won all the money on Penn State, to be honest.
Well,
so they're going to give it to them.
So part of this, I will say, how that line plays out will be dependent in part on how Penn State looks Saturday night.
Correct.
Obviously, they'll need the win, but also some style points there. And then, but assuming Penn State wins, and again, they don't need to blow Wisconsin out, but they need to look like, oh yeah, no, this is a really good football team capable of doing really good things. And if they do that, I think it'll be interesting. I think that line will be right around there. Could end up being a pick'em game. I could see that.
Yep. But I would say Ohio State maybe -1.5. We'll say that.
Well, and I was all fired up before this past weekend, because I'm like, well, Ohio State has a trap game of its own with Nebraska. What in the world happened there?
I started watching that game, and I was like, this game's horrible. They look completely outmatched.
And listen, I know Indiana. I mean, I will say Indiana may be better than anybody is still giving them credit for, but come on, man. Like, you can't, if you're Nebraska. I mean, I love Matt Rule, and I think he's got it headed in the right direction. But boy, that is a tough one to swallow. Not necessarily the loss, but getting absolutely beat down like that, where you're
56-7.
Nowhere near competitive.
Raiola looked absolutely horrendous that game.
He did, and I don't know if that's just, if you just chalk it up, man.
Young guy,
nerves got to him. Man. They got pressure, whatever it was, but by far his worst game here in his freshman season.
They blitzed him.
I think
he just dropped down.
And I think learning experience, right, the whole way around. I mean, we'll see. But while I think Nebraska may be better for having that experience, I don't think it's going to show up in Columbus. That is not the place you want to go to try to rebound after a beatdown like that. I think even if Ohio State is caught looking ahead a bit, it's just hard to imagine Nebraska coming out and being real competitive.
Matt can get those guys rallied up and like, hey, you know what?
Maybe
this
I'm hoping.
Right. You're right. It is a trap game for them. You know what? Everybody's calling us a trap. They got a trap game.
Yeah. Well, I thought so. I don't know that I think that.
That's what you think. See, that's why the trap's Iron
Yeah,
Man.
there you go.
You think you're faster than the rat trap.
All right. That's going to wrap things up for our show today. We'll break down the Penn State Wisconsin game a little more, take a look ahead to the other action this weekend in a little more detail as well. And you never know what other kind of trouble we may get into. We'll talk to you Thursday. Until then, be good and be safe.
Coast into fall with a new Kia from Lion Country Kia. Right now, get a 24 Kia Seltos for 5.25% APR for up to 48 months. A new Sportage plug-in hybrid at 0.9% APR. Check out our 23 Sorrento hybrid for as low as 4.5% APR. And don't forget, all 2023 and 2024 Kias come with a 10-year, 100,000-mile limited warranty. Stop in and meet with one of our sales experts today and coast into fall at Lion Country Kia. We want to see you in a Kia.
If you love wings, if you love rings, and all kinds of other tempting things, great times, great food, get to Quaker Steak Lube.
Get our Best Wings USA, signature sauces, mouth-watering appetizers, or any of our delicious award-winning lube favorites.
Great times, great food, get to Quaker Steak Lube.
The Center Hall Farm Store has been serving Center County and beyond for well over a half century. A small family business, the Center Hall Farm Store specializes in animal nutrition and manufactures its feed fresh using local ingredients. Get the best in horse, cow, pig, chicken, and bird feeds. If you're not already a customer, stop in and see why so many of your neighbors are. The Center Hall Farm Store at 110 West Allison Street in Center Hall, or call us at 814-364-1393.
A lot has changed about State College. One thing that hasn't is W.C. Clark's Coffee Roasters on 234 East Calder Way. 30 different varieties of specialty coffee beans sourced from over 25 countries and roasted with love each morning in Happy Valley for over 45 years. They'll ship their fresh roasted coffee from their doorstep to yours. Order online at statecollegecoffee.com. That's statecollegecoffee.com.
Two of the top names in local printing have combined to serve you better. King Printing of State College has merged with theprinters.com, forming one of the 400 largest printers in America. Combining traditional offset printing and digital workflow techniques, theprinters.com can print, assemble, package, and ship to anywhere in the world, all with the same high quality customers have known and trusted for over 50 years. Buy local and save. Get started today at theprinters.com.
Ready to be part of something bigger? Come pave the road to success at Glen O'Habaker and discover a career where your hard work and determination can build a bigger, better future. Our team believes we can build a stronger future together. Join us at Glen O'Habaker, where we value teamwork on the field and on the job. Go to GOHcareers.com to apply. GOHcareers.com. And best of luck to all the Center County sports teams all season long from everyone at Glen O'Habaker.
With a Timber Kids savings account, you can start to save money, earn prizes, and teach your kids the value of savings. It's easy as 1, 2, 3. Building futures is what we do at TFCU.
You really need to belong to a credit union. You belong at TFCU, Timberland Federal Credit Union, a credit union you can grow with.
WFXS, once again.
Your sports radio. Broadcasting live, loud and proud from Central PA's Sports Authority. WFXS America. 98.7 The Fox State College. The Goon